Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to make video games. I used to draw pages and pages of characters I designed for games I wanted to make when I grew up. When I was a teenager playing on the PlayStation 1, my favourite games were Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Nemesis, and Metal Gear Solid, and I just really enjoyed the story-driven nature of those games. As an adult, when I got my first VR headset and played Half Life Alyx for the first time, the feeling I got from being completely immersed in that world reminded me what it felt like to be a kid again, and reignited my desire to make video games. I had already been fairly competent with Unreal Engine as a personal hobby at the time, but now I really wanted to not only make my dream game but also create an interesting world and story. So I started making that game, and as a working title I called it Maleficence. Maleficence means causing harm or destruction, especially by supernatural means. And that name really captures the main synopsis of the story. Maleficence is going to be a story-driven horror VR game with supernatural elements derived from Buddhism as well as traditional Chinese folklore, and it takes place in a fictional Taiwanese island called Shenmin. The island itself has a small city and various surrounding villages, but because of the island's close proximity to China, there's also a military presence on the island in the form of a paramilitary and weapons research organisation called Astratech. That is, until a mysterious incident caused the loss of all civilian and military communications to and from the island. Fearing a potential military move from China, Astratech sends in the Viper unit to investigate why communications went dark. And this is where our main character, Alice, enters the picture. The Viper unit is an elite mercenary unit that Astratech contracts for highly sensitive operations when no one else can get the job done. The leader of the unit is Zane, with Alice serving as his second in command. When the team arrive at Shenmin, their helicopter is damaged and they can no longer communicate with the outside world. They also learn that the island is now overrun with supernatural horrors and violent beings bent on destroying all life. From here, Alice must uncover the mystery behind the demonic infestation, what or who caused it, look for survivors, and find a way off the island. Combat itself will be a mix of traditional shooter-style combat with modern military weapons, but also feature some supernatural abilities and power-ups that Alice is able to obtain as the story unfolds. I've been working on this project for a couple months now, focusing mainly on getting a functional character ready with a basic inventory system and some various weapons ready to use. I decided that the first thing I needed to do was have a player character class that gave a somewhat representative feel of what interacting with the game environment was going to be like. I needed movement, weapons, and a basic inventory so that I could get a basic idea for what gameplay would feel like. To employ these elements, I use three main templates to help. The first is the GDXR Ultimate VR template by GDXR. This is a well-optimized template which comes with a lot of standard VR functionality straight out of the box. The second template I used was the Ultimate VR Gun template by Constant Anxiety Games. One of the reasons I love this template so much is it integrates really well with GDXR. The standard gun template also comes with great physics and motion smoothing for the hands, but because the GDXR template doesn't have these things, I haven't taken full advantage of these features yet. From there, I added in some weapon meshes, customized some of the code to more of what I needed, and also created a custom laser sight attachment class that I could use with the weapons I created. The third template I used was for the inventory, and the one I used was VR Inventory Systems by Base Reality. This is a fantastic template, although because I'm using two different grab components with the GDXR and gun templates, integrating the inventory system code into my project in a way where all three templates get along with each other was really challenging, and I spent a lot of time debugging some strange issues.
What? What the hell? I wonder if it stays small if I pick up the gun. Pew, 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 pew.
And with that in mind, I decided that at this early stage in development, I needed to have an approach to dealing with bugs which wouldn't bring development to a grinding halt over minor issues that could be dealt with at a later stage. I do have a tendency to get a little fixated on every little minor bug that creeps up. So I decided to group bugs into two broad categories: functional bugs and aesthetic bugs. Functional bugs are bugs that stop me from experiencing the gameplay in some kind of functional way. For instance, if I can't walk or can't pick up my weapon, that's something that affects the inherent functionality of my character, and so I should work to fix that. Aesthetic bugs, on the other hand, are things that are kind of annoying when they do happen, but don't interfere too much with the functionality of the game, and I can afford to worry about them at a later stage when I start refining my game. When I happen to come across these bugs, I just note them down in a file I saved in Azure DevOps so that I can refer back to them later and I don't forget about them. But with that being said, let's dive into the project and I'll give you a small tour of what I've been working on. Okay, so here we are in my little prototype and environment. This is actually the central hub, and over here I've just got some portals to some other areas where I do a lot of my gameplay testing. With the island being set in a sort of tropical environment, I've got a forest level, which I'll go through in a minute. I've got the GDXR sub-level template there. I've got just a prototype city to walk around in, and a gun range from the VR gun template I'm using as well. But anyway, I'll quickly run through some of these weapons that I've been working on. First of all, I'll just mention these melee weapons here. Now, at the moment, because I've only just started working on these actually don't do anything other than me being able to pick them up and be able to store them in the inventory slot. Other than that, they don't do anything at the moment, like they don't actually cause any damage just yet. Eventually, what I want to be able to do with this one is this is going to be a close and long range melee weapon. So if you get some monsters up in close, you can just sort of quickly grab it from your holster and hack at them. But also, this is going to be something that you can throw from a distance, and it's going to be able to take out enemies a bit further away. There is going to be another melee weapon, and that is a two-handed sword, which Alice will be able to grab from behind her right shoulder, or left shoulder, depending on which is the dominant hand. It's a two-handed traditional Chinese sword called a jian. But as I said, melee weapons, I've only just started working on them, so I haven't got much to go on just yet. So, moving on to the more traditional style modern weapon. First of all is the sidearm. It's nice. I really like the way that this looks. It has like not only a modern feel to it, but it looks tough. Okay, and right here you can see that I've spawned in some ammo on this utility belt sort of inventory slot here. So this blueprint class actually comes with the VR gun template, but I've changed it around a little and got rid of the ammo box style mesh, and it actually attached it to the player. So now it acts as sort of like a utility belt where you can just come down, grab ammo, load up, and then ready to go. And it will also, it dynamically changes ammo type depending on which gun the character is holding. So, for example, if I pick up the M4 rifle, now the ammo has changed dynamically into the ammo type for the actual weapon I'm holding. But anyway, let's give a quick demo of the sidearm, and then I'll go through some of the various attachments to each of the weapons. So there's a two-handed grip, and I've got these test dummies here set to die after 3 shots. And some of these attachments. So got the attachment system I'm going to use. It's going to be kind of similar to the weapon upgrade system in Half Life Alyx, so you can get various weapon upgrades depending on what the player decides, and there'll be various costs to each one. The least amount of cost will be this one here, the sight, the gun sight. As you can see here, it's got a handy little crosshair that if you bring it close or even further away, it helps you pinpoint exactly where you want to shoot. Mag drop, reload, and fire. Now I've also got the silencer, obviously to reduce noise. It makes it less likely that nearby enemies will hear you and gravitate towards your location. And then finally, I did create this laser sight system. This doesn't actually come with the VR gun template. I created this class myself. So when you attach it to the weapon, then we get a nice little laser sight. And it's actually a bit weird there at the start. It shouldn't be doing that, but that's okay. It still works. Let's have a look at the M4 assault rifle. We're already loaded up. And I've got no more enemies to test on, so I will reload them. This rifle has 3 fire modes. It's got single fire, a 3-shot burst fire, and full auto. So we've got 3-shot burst. And of course single shot, and I'll just shoot this ball since I've run out of test dummies again. So similar to the sight on the handgun, so we've got a hollow sight now, and this is really cool. I like this look of it. And the next attachment, again, we've got a laser sight. Green color this time. Do a 3-shot burst. And then finally, we've got the suppressor. So now I'll quickly go through the tactical shotgun and the precision sniper rifle. So with the tactical shotgun, it spawns in 1 shell at a time, and you can load 12 shells.
A few moments later.
And this does have a suppressor as well. This is an absolute beast. And now finally, the precision sniper rifle. Obviously, this is gonna be a bit better when I get some hand smoothing into it, because right now it is a bit jittery, but let's give it a try. There we go. Yeah, it's very jittery at the moment. And actually, just before I go through some of the environments, I'll just show one more feature I've built into the player's character as well, and that's the player's flashlight. So if you hold your left hand up to the headset and click the trigger, it brings in a headlight, like a flashlight attached to the head. And all this consists of is one point light and one spotlight, which is what you're seeing in the ring there, with a light function to show the material sort of texture of the flashlight, and then one point light, which is a sort of spherical glow, which is what is illuminating the hands right now. Whoop. So anyway, let's go through the forest environment. Turn the light on. Yeah, I love this. I love this environment, and it's really cool. really creepy vibe to it. So since the island the game takes place in is in Taiwan, Taiwan being a tropical environment, I just really love having the idea of being in a creepy tropical forest at night and being hunted by enemies and trying to survive. And in my game, there will be, well, I'm planning to have a day and night system. And if you get trapped outside in the forest at nighttime, well, there's more dangerous enemies that come out at night. So you're really in a tough spot if you're trapped in the forest at night. Shoot some more test dummies. There. That night sky looks so cool. By the way, the sky, I'm using ultra dynamic sky. I really think that is a must-have for any developer in Unreal Engine. The ultra dynamic sky system is just it's so popular that I think it's almost becoming like a standard for people to use. Yep, there's one. Now, one trick too when developing for VR is I am using LODs, and those trees just up in the distance there. If you get close to them, they're sort of normal trees like this, but from here, they're just billboards. So it's just like a flat sprite almost, a flat cutout image of a tree, and that changes with levels of detail system. It changes automatically depending on how close you get to the actual tree. But this is looking really nice. I mean, you can't tell from this distance. So now I'll just go through the prototype city environment. It's just a blocking starter environment that emulates a city, and the lighting kind of looks really cool. And we'll just go through and have a bit of a play here. Oop. So obviously there's no AI programmed into these test dummies just yet. I just wanted something that I could test the weapons really quickly. But that is something I will do eventually, now that I'm sort of moving away from just building a functional character and moving more into, okay, so what is the gameplay actually going to be now?
Rifle.